Hey y'all, so I got something good going on here. I have some shiitakes on my sweet gum logs. I didn't know if they would fruit again this year because they seem like they're getting past prime, but I might have enough mushrooms here to make a video that I've been wanting to make for a while. I harvested some butternut squash almost a year ago, and I still have one that's in good shape, and I've been wanting to make some soup out of that just to show, and hopefully I've got enough mushrooms to do that. This looks pretty good. This is a really big strain of shiitake, but these are not so big, but they're more uniform, and I think they're actually in better shape because it's dry. Like, they'll probably be a little denser, but yeah, they're just kind of sprinkled through here. Okay, this is really awesome. Far as weight wise, I've probably had bigger harvests, but this is a really nice one, even though they're pretty much on the small side. Just look at how good a shape they're in. Some of them, like that, the veil hasn't even broke, and in these, the veils have just broken not so long ago. And that, like right there and right there, that's perfect in my book anyway. And some of these guys are, you know, you can see my finger, pretty small, but really nice to harvest and really beautiful caps. Like, I think I'll actually flip them over and let you get a look at them like that. Beautiful color of brown caps, and some of them like this have that signature snow cap around. In fact, this may be the snow cap strain, I can't remember, but a lot of shiitakes do that, and a lot of times it's way more pronounced, but I never get tired of seeing it. It never gets old. But yeah. So weeks went by, and I still haven't cooked the soup yet, and I thought I would just drop by the shiitake logs. So they yielded last week. They fruited last week, made a flush, a big flush at that, and they're typically not going to make another flush that quick, but it's a week later, and I have some. There's not a lot of them, but there's some huge shiitakes on here, so we'll pick them. They'll probably go in the soup. Look at this beast. These aren't as pretty and round as others, but they've got the pretty color, and they're huge. And these weren't here last week, like they weren't little babies. I cut every little button, everything I could get last week, I got it. And these guys still came back. These are not perfect. They're a little old, these are. But yeah, I don't care for the soup. Look at this beast. Thing's as big as my hand. Wow, not bad. Whoop. Won't take many of these to make soup. Look at that, pretty colors. Seen some here. Woo. Now that, it's not perfect round, but the shape's nice, and the way the veil is, the veil's gone, but the way it's opened up, picture perfect. And I saw down here, Let's see if we can get this guy. Almost missed this one. I didn't mean for this to be like a mushroom harvest video, but as long as I harvest them, I'm going to try to show them to you guys. I am impressed with that. 2 consecutive weeks. Wow. So a really rotten tree here. It fell last year, but I've been hunting mushrooms around it forever, and I've never found anything useful. And today I think this is a comb tooth. I can't remember the name exactly, but it's a hericium. I know that, kin to the lion's mane, and that is really pretty. Maybe we'll put that in a soup. Sorry, dude. That's not a terrible lot, but I'm always glad to find this one. I don't find it much. So, this is the squash we're going to talk about, and we're going to cook it, if it's any good. So this is the South Anna Butternut. I bought the seeds for this last year from Southern Seed Exposure, I think. And this is a cross between the regular butternut squash and the Seminole pumpkin. So, I harvested this. I've got a video somewhere I'll put up here. But I harvested this about a year ago. I don't remember the exact date, but it's November the 3rd today. This is the last one that I have left. But let's cut it and let's see if it's any good. So, it's got a really light colored skin. It is a little bit lighter than it was when I harvested it. Get down here where you can see. And I'm going to cut it into disc like this just because it'll make it easier for me to peel. I'm going to cut this as a wedge, and then that'll be a disc. And really light colored compared to what I thought. I figured it would be darker orange. Smells good. It smells sweet. I guess it is a little spongy, but I'm not worried about that. I don't know till I taste it, but I think that the starches have probably turned to sugar. It's probably a little sweeter. It'll probably cook down a lot, so I may not have that much here. But yeah, a year in storage. We'll cook it, see if it tastes right. But so far it looks good. There's no mold or anything in the seed cavity. And when I cut this thing, I had to cut it before the frost last year. But this one, if I remember right, because it's pretty misshapen, so I kind of remember it, it was like really dark green. And I didn't know if it would store well or not, but apparently it did. So, get it cut up and we will steam it. I'll have to go out and get some basil. Put it in here. Get some of this Greek dwarf. And get that one. Maybe a little Italian. So, not a really fancy soup, just a butternut squash. But I did grow that, and I did harvest all the mushrooms, and yeah, I growed the basil too, but I'm gonna do that. Oh, I guess, yeah, I did grow a lot of this stuff, so that's pretty cool. I grew the garlic too, but bought some Parmesan, and I've got butter, and I'm gonna put heavy whipping cream in there, but it's mainly gonna be like a Parmesan mushroom kind of a soup. So nothing, not a big deal, but it'll be really good. I think it's about done. Alrighty, so 1 year of winter squash. It's a year old. I cooked it. It looks fine. We're about to taste it. It's pretty cool that you can grow something and it store that long. And I didn't even do everything that's recommended. You're supposed to keep them in a cool, dark place. I didn't do that. I had it on the counter at room temperature, light hitting it. Probably didn't season them out the way I was supposed to. So if I put full effort into this, they would have stored better, and maybe the quality would even be better after a year now. But the fact that it went a full year is really impressive, and it's cool because the winter squash will always be in season. You know, we try to eat seasonally. And then there's things like the mushrooms that are really spontaneous, and you'll always have something like the winter squash to go with it so that you can cook the stuff that truly is seasonal, like the mushrooms. They come in, they come out, they're gone. The basil went into this. I have about 2 more days and it's going to get killed by frost, so the basil will be over. And I got to use this stuff, and you know, you can always have the squash on standby if you plant new ones every year. By the time this year's get ripe and ready to eat, last year's will still be here, and it obviously will be seasoned. So I'll shut up. We'll try this out. Winter squash soup with basil, garlic, and Parmesan, and lots of mushrooms. It needs more salt, but other than that, it's good. The squash is just fine. It's good to know if you're trying to raise more of your own food. This is a good one. It could be there in hard times, and like I said, it can be a base, and all this other stuff that just comes and goes during the season, you can make use of it with your own, your own homegrown ingredients. Appreciate y'all watching. Y'all be good. Bye.